Wow, I'm with the Pam Rowe, and I'm so excited to have this conversation. So first of all, thank you very much, Pam, for being here.
Pleasure.
Please do introduce yourself for us.
Yes, I'm Pam Rowe.
Mm.
The best way to understand who I am
Mm.
is that I just make a difference to people in every way I can.
Mm.
Of course, one way was being a social worker.
Love that.
Hence
Love that.
why I'm keen to speak to you today.
Love it. And I'm going to talk about a direct quote, actually, from your website, from someone who's experienced your services, I would say. It says, "The coaching is the most impactful that I have ever had. I'm different. My staff and my family say I'm different. I cannot thank you enough. You saved my life." How did you save their life?
I think that person would have to tell you themselves, but from where I sit, you know, when you're functioning in a certain way and you're exhausted, you actually think you're going to live like that for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Stressed, whatever, pressures. And when someone comes along and says, you can do this, it's okay, and navigate you through to the point where you feel, of course I can. And I can see how the way my mind has been, because most of it is about the way we think about ourselves and others. And I can see that that didn't serve me, and that I help them to see what does serve them in relation to how they think about situation, events, and feel, and to really recast the narrative. I think that's my analysis. I can never explain entirely what I do.
Okay. Why is it? Because it's too much? It's too big?
No,
why?
because it's in, you know, they say the proof of the pudding is in the eating.
Okay, let me eat some more then.
It's in the hands. It's in the hands of the people who get it, because everybody.
Yeah.
It will land differently with everybody, but my intention is absolute to shift a person from where they're at to where they need to be.
Why is that so important, to shift someone from where they're at to where they need to be? Because I could be comfortable where I'm at.
No, you wouldn't come to me if you were.
Okay.
You wouldn't.
Okay.
You wouldn't be seeking help.
Okay.
Right? By the time people come to me, normally there's a crisis or indeed just some self-reflection on how they're functioning or what's happening in their lives. Normally it's something someone else has done to them. And by the time they finish with me, they understand that a lot of it is about how they are, how they've allowed that to occur, and what they can do to have a shield that protects and actually gives them agency.
So do you feel like your position, I guess the integral part that you play is like the savior, the rescuer?
I would hate to be regarded as a savior, because I think everyone saves themselves. You know, that thing about looking outside for the person to look up to, the thing, the deity, whatever. Actually, I hold a different perspective.
Okay.
My perspective is it's all in you.
Okay.
My job is to let you see that. So it's that person's own self that's coming out. And it's sometimes buried for a range of reasons, trauma, history, everyday experiences, etc. But if you actually do believe that your savior is outside of you, well, I think you're going to be searching for a long time.
Wow.
Because you might meet the right one. But what happens when you don't have that person?
Yes.
When you can't see that you have all you need already?
Yeah.
All that is in you simply needs to be mobilized and the debris removed.
You speak a lot about, I've read a lot about the Pam Rowe, and I think before we had this conversation, the Pam Rowe, you are the Pam Rowe,
All right, sure.
Yeah, own it. I think it's really powerful, and it's really important, to recognize effectiveness within the space, and I think the work that you do, especially when it comes to direct work with families, how important is that to you, Pam? Direct work with families, seeing meaningful change. What does direct work even look like from your perspective?
Yeah, so I started this by saying I'm a social worker, and actually I will never not be a social worker. And over the years, I've moved into inspecting social work, leading social work, and coaching and other things. And actually, to your question of direct work, I don't know what we're doing if we're not doing that.
Yeah. But it's so funny because half of the time, a lot of social workers say that we don't do enough of it.
And it's true. Certainly, when I was a social worker myself, I will admit to somewhat being a person that have a certain belief about how things should be done.
Sure.
But the multiple obstacles to doing it in the way we know, in the way I know, which is about connection with people, getting into their space, understanding what's going on. The distance you can travel with that, depends on the amount of pressure you feel. And lots of things that are just not conducive to being able to do enough direct work. On the way here, I was considering the reason for that and the need to be balanced in my perception of it.
Okay.
So
Is that as you've evolved? Is that something that you've learned?
No, I just worked that out just now. Because if I say, I'm talking about things that could be better. So I'm going to focus on could be better. It doesn't mean everything is like this. But I'm talking about what concerns me about what we do. And what concerns me is that the majority of time, whether people intended it or not, with all the requirements, I can't quite see very much that talks about direct work. We have all kinds of theories, trauma-informed, restorative, all the buzzwords, right? Which has excellent intention. But actually, if you pile that on top of the bureaucracy that we have introduced without removing some of it, so that the time that is necessary is afforded, you don't really have the changes that's supposed to engender. Because you have to think about human beings. You tell them to do things in a certain way, outside of social work.
Yeah.
Say you have a child, do it this way.
Yeah.
They've learned that, and they're doing this.
Yeah.
You say, oops, why don't you do it this way? And do it this way now.
Tough.
Are they able to instantly drop that? Because you haven't dropped the requirements over there, right?
Yeah.
It's still a requirement. And then you say, well, surely you should be able to do this. To my mind, it's too superficial. If you want fundamental change, you have to visit what you did before and not pile on top of.
Yeah, okay.
Sometimes you have to clear the ground so that you can build differently. And in the context of a child or a social worker, they're humans, Yeah. If they were a robot, it would work.
Or AI.
Hey, that's another story.
Yeah, that's another story. I think it's really powerful to, some of the work that you do in terms of your leadership style, your coaching style. What have been some of the barriers that you have faced when it comes to coaching and leadership in the spaces that you've encountered yourself in? Be as candid, be as open as possible.
I wish people weren't so set in thinking the way it is the right way or is the way it has to be.
Yeah. Why are people like that? Why?
To my point that I just made, they're humans, right? And when you have adopted something and you've owned it and you've functioned through it, that's why you can't see when it's not so good for you.
Yeah.
Because you've been schooled. If I was going to be a little bit controversial, I might say when you've been indoctrinated. But let me be positive. When you have accepted, for various reasons, that things have to be a certain way, that's why. Yeah. So it's always fascinating for me when I have a new client, a new client in a coaching context, a new leader that's come to me. It's always interesting to know where they're at and why they're there. Because once you know why, it's possible to shift But if you're just dealing with the presentation, this person who's traumatized or affected needs help either with a career or with an issue, you have to understand what caused it. Otherwise, what are you doing? You're just telling them, stop doing this. That's not coaching. Coaching is to understand why that person has got to where they've got to, how set they are in their beliefs, how much does it serve them currently, and if it's not serving them, then they're open to help, to shift it.
And I think it's a little bit about, I have a leader, one of my mentors, she always says, people need to be the way they are so you can be who you need to be. So sometimes, in as much as we see people that are, I guess, resistant, that are don't want change, sometimes they need to be like that. So you can show how powerful your skill is when you come into that space.
Yes, I might ascribe to that rationale for it, but not really.
Why?
People are as they are, right? It's not need to be, they are. And if they travel a distance from who they are, that's why they get in trouble. They're pretending to be someone else and suppressing themselves. So to that aspect of what you say, I agree. When I start to engage with them, what I'm doing is uncovering that.
Okay.
I'm not uncovering it so that I could do what I do. Spiritually, you could say that's my purpose and I'm serving it.
Okay.
I'm uncovering it so they could do what they're here to do.
Okay.
I hold a view that all that's happened is life, debris I call it, that's suppressing who they are and the expression of their purpose in the context of their awareness of it. Because often my clients are serving their purpose. But many people, I wonder what it should be. I wonder where it is. I wonder. And my job is to say, have a look at you. Appreciate who you are. Appreciate what you've done. Don't wonder. I'm not particularly religious, but I find myself in the last few months frequently saying, your God must be wondering, how many times can I show you who you are? And you still say you do not know. So in that context, maybe I see something that others don't.
Yeah.
I have the luxury of being able to sit outside of the person and shine a light in. Yeah. So maybe, but I'm not driven by that purpose. I'm more driven by what comes out of the person. That's where my joy is.
Okay. Have you ever shone that light on yourself? And were there things that you uncovered that you didn't like? And how did you process that?
The answer is yes, yes, yes.
Wow.
How did I get to shine a light on myself? Well, I've always been, I know this to be so, I've always been a questioning person.
Okay.
I get many of my elders reminding me of that, so it was somewhat pronounced. I've always not really accepted. I always think that's not right. Well, and I think I've done that since a baby, right? Is that the light? Well, on my journey, I've had reason to go get help, right? And more
was that by choice, or was someone forced you to?
The events that occurred in my life was not by choice, consciously. Luckily, I had someone who directed me to the help. Okay. And actually, that's why I do what I do, because of that person who directed me. Wow. Because it was amazing. I want to do that job. Right? And in a kind of social work context, I had a social worker. I lived in New York at the time, and I ran away a lot. And my family was concerned about it. And the best thing that happened, with the pressure I was feeling, because I'm the youngest, everybody is, why is Pam so bad? And the best thing I love it. The best thing she did was when she called them all in, she said, she's all right, you're not. And that was my expression of a pain, expression of an issue. when my family was, no, keep it in, keep it tight. And that liberation that she gave me, the validation of the person who I am, the person who from a child would tell you when someone came in the yard and stole a mango. I was that child. And to hear someone wanting to hear my voice and acknowledging that it was okay to express feelings, emotions, and behavior was a reflection of that. That was it. I am doing that job. And I ended up doing it.
Wow. I love that. Let's talk about culture and supervision. You know, a lot of people say that supervision in the workplace has become quite, you know, task-centered. It's become quite routine-y. It's become very bureaucratic. How do we get back to being people and humans within the supervisory space? And how can we hold that in mind?
You know, I do improvement work as well. And I spent 3 years somewhere just observing. I had the opportunity and the luxury of a director of children's services saying to me, come and spend time just seeing what goes on and what you would change. So that meant I observed supervision quite a lot.
Were there moments that you just cringing at the fact that this is going on, or just angry?
It was interesting. I was interested in it because, you know, a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
It's, you know, when I trained, you have three-way mirrors that observed what you did in a therapeutic context. So, and actually, even the idea of being in the room, because everyone is concerned, someone's listening, the comfort you need to feel to be your natural self, like in this scenario here. Actually, because I am not obsessed with that uncomfortableness, I'm more interested in what's going on. And so when you convey that kind of energy, people just get on with what they're doing. So to your question, it was entirely fascinating because I, in the various guises, whether I was a senior leader or inspector, social worker, whatever, in the various guises, I was always concerned as to why practice wasn't as good as it could be. So I'm inquiring. I have an inquiring mind. So I went into that. And, so, you know, an example, a particular worker doesn't do, I don't know, a recording or something, or have a conversation that they should have, right? And when you ask why at senior level, the answers, you know, I keep telling her or him, and it just doesn't happen. This is what the supervisor is saying. But when you're in there, you realize why. Because, back to your human, yes, I can say the overwhelming message I got from, it was over 100 sessions.
Wow.
Was that people thought they were doing it. They thought they were doing all that was necessary, right? So an example is a manager who thought she'd said, you can't keep doing this. You have actually got to have this conversation.
Okay.
The worker was quite skilled. A diversion.
Okay.
Right? But she is difficult. But there is this. And the manager got to a point where, next time then. Or, I'll do it for you. Totally the wrong thing. But as a human who's swamped and overwhelmed equally, you've got expedience operating. That was one example. The other example that was really quite interesting was, it was a scenario, links somewhat to the sentiment behind your question. It was a scenario where accountability was the primary objective of that interaction, of many of them actually. And there were different ways to do that, but in those moments, that's what people were doing. It went something like this. Have you done, have you done, have you done, have you done, have you done? And an hour, yes, I have. And the worker, by the end of the session, she was like this.
Very task-centered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, the worker was used to it.
This became a thing.
It's just what happens in supervision.
Yeah, yeah.
The manager was used to. I tell you why. Because we had said, your responsibility is to make sure performance occurs.
Yeah.
There is no help. There's nothing other than make sure. When you take performance, it's like behaviors in families. Yeah. It's not, all I have to do is tell you, we'll all be very happy. We wouldn't have to spend lots of time. You must do. If that's all that's needed, I never wonder, well, why aren't you? What is it about this thing that's so difficult? What issues are you having in doing it? Or instead of that, which is the exploration to get at the underlying cause so that can be fixed. Yeah. One worker, I knew her confidence in writing wasn't great. There was never an acknowledgement as to what we can do about that. The issue that was attended to was, you haven't done. She wasn't in a position because she felt so concerned. Actually, she had ADHD. Okay. She felt so concerned about exposing that. It was sad. It was very sad. Of course, with the luxury, I recorded it and had them look at it because on their phone, so I didn't have to keep it. Yeah. And actually, with a bit of distance, both could see what was happening, right? And it didn't take much to shift it, but identification was the first bit. And, I'm not approaching it as punishment. I'm approaching it as learning. And so they got a chance to try it again. And it's about permission to be more than a robot. Permission to understand this is a human being. There are reasons behind the presentation.
It's so hard though, Pam.
Why is it hard?
In this day and age, being a social worker, right, and not feeling that I just have to tick a box. It's the culture that we've created, unfortunately. You go in, I speak to so many social workers, the work that I do and the platforms that we've created, speaking to new generation social work. And it's like, Chris, I am drained. I am tired. I'm going from pillar to post and there's no recognition. There's no acknowledgement. Those at the top just want me to tick a box. I am not a robot. Exactly what we're saying here. That narrative has to change. And so I'm thinking about, even the role of emotional intelligence. How important is emotional intelligence in this job?
Well, it should be one of the most important things. Lots of things have happened to turn social workers away from that. It's, I was around when performance indicators. In fact, I was involved in creating them.
So we have you to blame, Pam.
Yes, I am the gamekeeper turned whatever. The rationale at that time was about public sector workers' accountability. Okay. People went crazy. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say after that. Yeah. We had to find a way to measure. Social work isn't easy to measure. Yeah. It's one of those emotionally intelligent things, right? So you're interacting with a person, right? You're using a range of techniques to pull out what's really there, right? Now, you get a tick box. Doesn't include did you pull anything out. Did you go and see them? Yeah. Did you address a particular thing, the safety? What's your actions? There's a gap. Your point about emotional intelligence. I tell you what I think. I think that I don't know who you are if you're not someone bringing all of you to a task. That excuse, right? And it sounds not generous, isn't it? Because we know lots of things create the presentation. And I see it. I see exactly what you described. I have been turned into a robot. So I'm just going to operate like that because the pressure, if I don't become that, is overwhelming. I will repeat. I don't know who you are if you decided that's what you want to do. I had a scenario once. It was so interesting. It was a social worker who came from a particular culture. She was working with a family from that culture.
Same culture. Okay.
There was an issue that meant the elder sister was the kind of more dominant parenting of the relationship of the mother and father. In that culture, that's how it works. Someone had criticized it, right? Someone not from that culture, that that's a bad thing. It means that they have interference in their marriage. Yeah. She said it was a bad thing, right? And so when I read that report, I called her in my office and I said to her, "Where are you from?" She told me. And in your culture, for you personally, I said, is this a problem? She said, "Oh, no. So why is it a problem in this family? You know the purpose it serves, the function it has." She said, "When I came to this country, they told me what I knew and who I am has no relevance in the context of my work."
Wow.
Right? This is what goes on. Even if it's not that scenario, we're taught to leave behind what we know and to follow what some young person, I'm not going to hesitate now, because I was involved in the setting social work standards, etc. And I know how they came about. I know who wrote them. It's not people with experience, right? So if it's understandable, they can't talk about this. For that case, I actually said to the social worker, she still writes to me about this. You're doing yourself a disservice. You're not helping that family. Use what you know, right? Lots of people, "Oh my God, you might be really abusive." We're not dealing with that. Use what you know. You know that man wrote to her when she finished that piece of work and thanked her to the extent that he said, "You made me cry because everybody chose to pick on that. And you chose to tell me how to use that resource in a better way, not to deny my culture, not to deny who I am, but to add what she knows about this culture and our responsibility on top of that, rather than to say everything that's about you doesn't matter."
And this is the issue that we have, Pam. You know, we've got workers, we've got people that want to bring their authentic self to the workplace, but they cannot because of, number one, the system doesn't allow the space for you to do that. And when you do bring yourself, I guess, to the workplace, you're seen as, I guess, different, or you're looked at sideways. So how can you actually truly be who you are in a profession that's supposed to celebrate that? How?
I maintain my position. Because I can change you, I can't change the system. And actually, if a lot of us are different, the system might follow. But this is my position. Of course it feels like that. Of course that's the message that you get. Right? Of course you're only a shadow of yourself in this context. Hello. Why? What will happen to you when you go out on that visit and you're working with that young person and you're bringing all of you? What will happen? Will you lose your job? I understand you are being really pressured to be robotic. You cannot make me into a robot. And if the system, you're right, I see that. I dare not show my authentic self. I dare not. I see that. That's why I coach you. You have to handle what's present in the context of being you. You need strategies. Put simply, do the minimum that you have to do and do more. The minimum that you have to tick those boxes. More is who you are. Join those two things and you're a powerful social worker. So powerful. And a person so powerful that no one dares come to you and say, drop who you are and become who I want you to be.
Love that. Love that. Love that.
Don't leave yourself out
Yeah.
just because a system or a person directs you to be someone other than you.
Yeah.
That's why when I used to inspect, I could always fail on an environment because they were robots.
The robots.
It's quite easy, and I'm tick boxing too, right?
Yeah.
Tick that box. Right?
Yeah.
But when you see a piece of work, for example, when you look in the system and someone has bothered to put a picture of a child, you're already impacting all of us because we're humans.
100%.
And then when you see the visit happened, youth offending drives me crazy. You can see all those boxes have been ticked. But when you see someone who bothers to get alongside that young person, to be talking to him about, or her, about what happened, what they're feeling, what went on, the antecedents, what happened before. And therefore, there's a relationship that has been formed where that young person is talking to that person. It isn't in the tick box. And then there's an action, and then there's movement, and then there's change. I mean, really, that's amazing. That's what I'm looking for. I have got to tick the boxes. And I think we have a personal responsibility not to allow ourselves to be anything other than our full selves. It doesn't mean we can't train and learn and refine. But the minute we decide and we accept, we're really just cardboard cuts. It's like the AI thing. We can rely on that because it can do nuance. It can do human. It's not true. And lots of things happen to tell us that we're disposable as human beings, right? And it can work. The strength of a human being is to see it, because we have a lot more that cannot be measured and monitored and copied. And to say, I see what you are. This is what I am. How can I use that to help me? Because most of my time is going to be spent over here. Now, I say that as if it's that easy. When you have a caseload that is so large, right? And you have time scales and all kinds of things, you require a different strategy, right? You ought to take that whole thing in its round, look at it and say, what is it that I can do to satisfy whatever? And what is this all telling me? What's the best way? Take agency. Don't be a victim. Take agency. Because all that happened wasn't taken away. It's still in you. All that happened is you listened to the rest more than you listened to you.
Yeah. I love that. I think this conversation has been so powerful. I think just as we kind of, draw the conversation to kind of a conclusion, I want to talk about your book.
Yeah, sure.
What inspired you? What is your book about, and what inspired you to kind of write the narrative that you've written?
The truth is, I have a son. And over the years of bringing him up, I've had reason to remember my time at various ages. And I'd always kind of used it. And there was a conversation, literally a conversation we were having in the car, driving him back from secondary school. And he said something, and I said, that happened to me. And I was talking. And this young man got so impatient with me. He said, I'm sick of you always doing this. You're always talking about writing a book. Let's do the headings now. And I have had that. He was 15, and I only wrote the book 2018. So it's not that long ago, 7 years ago. He's 36 now. Right. So it was parked. One day I will. I have a lot to say, as you can see. One day I'll do it. Park. So I get this piece of work, to my mind, totally unrelated. It doesn't logically link to why I would write the book immediately after. After leaving the inspectorate, I had improvement teams. We went into an authority. They had failed on domestic violence, that area, the cases on domestic violence. But we said we'd do 3,000 cases in 2 weeks. It was not, no, we traumatized ourselves.
Well, I was going to say that's a lot.
It was crazy. It was me kind of, sure, we can do this.
Optimism at its finest.
I had a massive team. But anyway, we did it. And believe me, every single one of us, so we had social workers, senior managers, inspectors, myself, all people who were freelance looking at this. Every single one of us was traumatized at the end of that. We couldn't work. I didn't work for a whole year after that.
Wow.
Why? What it did for me is made me see that we'd missed the point. When you look at, we'd absolutely missed the point, all of us. There was none of us that could say we had led or undertaken the correct work with people who were subject to domestic violence, with children who were subject to domestic, and with the perpetrators. None of us could say what we saw, which is what we all did, was really moving the dial. What we saw was identification. What we saw was referral to others to deal with it. What we saw was things like wishful thinking. Get out of the house. What we saw, we didn't understand. There was no understanding of as to whether that was going to happen or likely to. And of course, it would keep happening, etc. And for me, what it did was it dawned on me, oh my goodness, the point we missed is that this is all about self-esteem, right? This is all about being a victim or being a perpetrator. Something happened that got your way of being corrupted in some way, and there was not one piece of work that was about that. If it was, when we sent it off to another agency, we didn't ask them what they were doing. The problem never went. Anyway, why does that relate to my book? Well, I'm at home. I realize, stunned, but it occurs to me, write your book. So I spent that year writing my book. It sounds like it was just, I'll sit down now and write my book. It wasn't like that. It was, the thought came to me that there's a voice that's missing. And the voice that's missing is one of experience. And it's one of having been on the other side. And actually, if only people knew, if only we were talking about what we know from our experience, it might help all of us to be able to speak up, but it might help the profession, anybody who reads it, to know it's important to understand what lies behind people. So for me, right, I have the Pam Rowe. I wish I could say it was cultivated persona, but it was a persona. Here I am talking about things that it was so hard to do. Right? It was literally taking away everything and saying, look at me. This is what I went through. This, from the sexual abuse to the whole thing. But I couldn't stop myself. I couldn't stop myself saying, actually, experiences make you into who you are. Do not be, when you come through shame and crap, right, it is crap because it shouldn't be your shame. It should be somebody else's shame. So when you come through, and the writing of the book told me I still had some of that left in me despite years and years of therapy. But when you come through it, what you're actually doing is not suppressing your authentic self. And you're not ashamed of your authentic self.
And that's what I love, your authentic self. I mean, I've been so inspired. I've been actually blown away, but I think I'm more blown away by the assurity of who you are. Pam Rowe, on behalf of all the social workers, thank you for the work that you do.
It's my absolute pleasure.
Thank you. And thank you for coming on this platform.
My pleasure.